This one's a funny one. Zelda, the princess, has a schizophrenic sister. So, in Twilight Princess, players encounter a unique individual in Castletown. Agatha is a young bug collector that lives on her own, and by the look of it, lives rather well. One would assume that Agatha has a rather substantial amount of money, considering her elegant clothing and graceful nature. She also rewards Link with thousands of rupees. She doesn't appear to have a job outside of her obsessive hobby, so where is she getting all of this money? Because only royalty are rich. No one else in the world can be rich. A Redditor suggests that Agatha is actually the sister of Princess Zelda. Even further, they believe she's schizophrenic. This isn't just a baseless claim either. Agatha appears to exhibit some trademark signs of schizophrenia. She truly believes that she's a monarch to a kingdom of bugs. She mistakes Link for various bug types. She always has a dreamlike expressions, and she seems to suffer from social isolation.
Everyone in Twilight Princess has dreamlike expressions.
Yeah, that's just how they're animated.
Yeah, who was it? Stritch in Skyward Sword? Was he the bug guy?
Oh, yes, that's right.
So,
he must be schizophrenic.
yeah.
He gives you tons of money, and he wasn't royalty.
Yeah. Beetle in Breath of the Wild, you can find gems. You can get like 20,000 rupees in one go from that guy if you sell him the right stuff. I don't think he is Zelda's schizophrenic cousin. That's for dang sure.
Well, let's face it, that would be a good plot for a Zelda game.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I like this theory. People there are a lot of people who are 100% against Link having any kind of family or Zelda having family. It's like, Link has a brother? No, that would be stupid. Link has a sister? No, that would be stupid. Link already had a sister. Her name was Errol.
Oh, that's
Wind
true.
Waker.
And an uncle.
So
Yeah,
it's like,
uncle
there are a lot of people, but there's just so many people. It's like so quick to snap when you mention like Link having a brother or sister or Zelda having a brother or sister. They're like, no, they have to be like their own person, like they're single person, like they're a single child. It doesn't work if they have a brother. It doesn't work if they have a sister. And it's like, well, Wind Waker.
I think that a lot of Zelda fans get caught up in the idea when you say, well, what if you did this? They think you mean for like the whole series or the series moving forward. Well, no, maybe just one game, because that's how the series works anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, I think this is like, I would say there's a 30% chance of this being true. Like,
I mean, she is schizophrenic. I mean, sure, but why connect her to Zelda?
See, I always assumed she had like a really great inheritance.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
if
we encountered her in Hyrule Castle, definitely, no question, definitely.
But yeah,
like
why wouldn't she live in
more.
the castle?
I like her more than Zelda in Twilight Princess. Zelda in Twilight Princess is one of my least favorite Zeldas because she seems so serious and like she seems like the stuck-up royal princess you would come to expect.
Yeah, but wasn't that kind of cool for that game?
No.
Sure, it was #edgy.
Edgy.
The only thing that really bothers me about Agatha is that when you collect the bugs and bring it to her, you have to like, if you've got like 10, you have to give them to her one at a time, which means like restarting the dialogue box. I wish you could just like, how many bugs will you give to her, and like select a bunch of them at once.
But Jesse, you gotta hear all her creepy little poems.
Ugh.
No. All right, Axel, take us to number 10.
Okay, so the Gerudo. I actually like this one. Not completely.
This is actually like this is our first good theory.
Yeah. The Gerudo became the Twilight. Number 10. The Gerudo are strangely absent in Twilight Princess, but some theories suggest they've simply changed form. Much like Zora theory, some fans believe that the Gerudo suffered a similar evolutionary fate, although this transition would appear to be something that aligns magically rather than scientifically. There are a few key elements to this theory that push it towards truth. First, we have the Mirror of Twilight, a mysterious item that serves as a gate to the Twilight Realm. This magical artifact is located within the Gerudo Desert, the homeland for the Gerudan people. Link's Twilight companion Midna also makes statements that may suggest she was once a part of the seemingly forgotten race. There is even a comment in which she states that her people's king fell due to greed. One such king was Ganondorf, the ruler of the Gerudo. This may hint that the Twilight were once the desert-dwelling race that we've seen in past releases.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best one so far on this list, I gotta say.
I mean, my only problem with it at this point is they say that their king once fell due to greed, so it might begin. Well, yeah, but they talk about that as its own history. Linnaeus tells you about that. That's the whole story of the Dark Interlopers. They were a bunch of sorcerers. And that's, I think, the nail in it. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad theory. It's definitely pretty decent, but the Dark Interlopers were sorcerers across the board before they went to the Twilight Realm.
Yeah.
They were like a bunch of wizards, basically.
I look at it as... So basically the pre-version of the Yiga. It seems like we have different...
Like some Sheikah
at different points in the timeline, you have cases where Sheikah end up being corrupted. Like Ocarina of Time gives that as the backstory for Bonga Bonga. He was like a member... He
has no backstory.
What? He was the man that trapped in the well.
Not canon.
No, that's speculation, though. Like, it's not confirmed. It's a good theory.
It's a good theory.
I think it is still
whether or not it was Bongo Bongo. Okay, so whether or not it was Bongo Bongo, there was the person that Shahashi.
The professor talks about.
Yeah. He mentions someone with like the all-seeing eye, blah blah blah, that tried to do whatever, and then Sheikah trapped him in the bottom of the well. Right?
Maybe. Well, at least Bongo Bongo was trapped at the bottom of the well. He mentions that the guy
used to live where
the well is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of connections. Nothing is... It's not confirmed, but there's so many connections that it's likely. It's a good theory.
Going to be calling up Miyamoto later, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Yes, to the bottom of the well?
Yeah. All right, so...
A long time ago, there was a man in this very village who had an eye that said could see the truth. Now, usually you have to train your mind's eye most strenuously to actually see the truth. But this fella, no, they say he had a different way of doing things. His house stood where the well is now.
That's the one.
They don't say anything about him turning bad. They just say he used to live there.
Yeah.
But whenever Impa sealed...
She sealed a monster.
That Impa sealed Bongo Bongo at the bottom of the well. And then he breaks out, but doesn't say much else.
Theoretically, it actually has no relation to the lens of truth being down there. It's just coincidence.
Theoretically. We're all in speculation territory, so
someone call up Hyrulean.
But Hyrulean historian will get... That guy is pretty reliable.
He'll give us like the Japanese translation, the Korean translation, the Spanish translation.
So you know what my... Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. What were you going to say?
You know what my theory is about the Gerudo disappearing?
They drank too much red potion.
I wouldn't even argue that this is what I think happened. It's just a really cool idea that I might write a fanfic about at some point, because that's really probably what it is. What was the Death Sword in Arbiter's Grounds? Why was it so like this thing sealed in the it was like sealed with charms and stuff, and it was like almost enraged when it broke out. It had like this violent, like it was screaming at you. What if the Death Sword was like this evil ghost that killed the Gerudo?
Maybe. I always thought there was probably some conflict between Hylians and the Gerudo because at the end of the child ending of Ocarina of Time, and he's going to murder everybody and take over. So they put Ganondorf on trial. Ganondorf, at this point, is still leader of the Gerudo. So politically, there's going to be a problem there, right?
Yeah.
So when they put Ganondorf to rest, either the Gerudo... Or not to rest. They try to execute him, fail, seal him into the Twilight Realm. The Gerudo probably either took off and were like, "Okay, we're done. We're out of here," or they were annexed and became part of Hylian society.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. My thought is that the Gerudo. Sorry, what were you going to say? I didn't mean to interrupt you, Daniel.
Oh no, just that was pretty much the gist of it. It was just that they basically dissolved their own political structures and were either took off and became like the Gerudo that we see in Four Swords, where they're just in small camps, or it's not Four Swords, Four Swords Adventures, right?
Yeah.
Or they just became a part of Hylian society.
Well,
That's actually a really good point, because there's a bunch of dark-skinned people in Hyrule, in Twilight Princess.
Four Swords Adventures, they introduce a new desert race as well.
We don't talk about them.
What were they called? I don't even remember.
Yeah,
the Zuna.
Yeah, they got blue skin though.
Yeah.
But that's Capcom, not Nintendo.
So. that's just
Nintendo.
Capcom did good Zelda.
Nintendo never references much of the Capcom stuff.
Except there's some
Four Swords
good...
Adventures is actually not Capcom, believe it or not. If I recall right, I'm double checking. It doesn't matter. I'm just
wait.
Yeah, Capcom had nothing to do with it.
Daniel
got
his copy of Four Swords Adventures.
It's not. Capcom did Four Swords.
They did Four Swords and Minish Cap, and
then not Four Swords Adventures.
That's I think he's right, Jesse. I think we just assumed it was Capcom because they did the other two.
Yeah.
But there's no Capcom logos anywhere on this.
Yeah, they didn't work on it.
Interesting.
Wow,
Weird.
You blew my mind today. I learned something.
Yeah. All right. So my thought on the Gerudo, the Twilight, the Sheikah is essentially a long time ago. The Twilight Realm was founded, or not necessarily founded, but it was used to get rid of the evil Sheikah, who some theorize became the Dark Interlopers. But then, whenever they needed to get rid of Ganondorf and the evil Gerudo, they had the Spirit Temple, which a lot of people assume was turned into the Arbiter's Grounds. But then the Arbiter's Grounds, when it's not good enough to hold the people back, like if it's a life sentence and not just, okay, we're going to put you in prison for a few years, then maybe they go back to the top of Arbiter's Grounds where they use the Mirror Twilight and everything. And the Twilight, as we know them, and Twilight Princess are a mixture of the Dark Interlopers, so the magic users that were sent there a long time ago, which would have been theoretically the evil Sheikah people, mixed with the new Gerudo who were also being sent there. Because we know, they existed before Ganondorf got there, the people in the Twilight Realm, but then Ganondorf was brought with new people that was there, and then that's when Ganondorf was like, hey, Mr. Zant man, how about I give you some of my power and you help me get out of here, and then I'll snap your neck right before I die.
Other way around, he snaps Ganondorf's neck. So, I'm confused. Wait, who's snapping people's necks?
Is it not Zant's
neck? Yeah, Zant
neck?
snaps Ganondorf's neck. Kind of. He's does that thing, the neck snap thing, and then Ganondorf dies. So I always thought it was kind of
I thought it was before
kind of...
Ganondorf dies, he snaps Zant's neck.
No, it's the opposite.
Oh, no, I thought it was the other way, where Zant was
Zant looks down on Ganon as he's dying, and Zant goes, and then Ganon seems to die.
Yeah, you're out of here. You played me, son.
Alright, someone call up Al
This was a sham.
No, I remember saying that's how it goes.
Alright, Axel, take us number 9.
Super Mario Bros. 3 was a famous Hyrule play! This is one of the most entertaining. That is, you got that right. The Legend of Zelda 3 is floating around the internet. One Redditor suggests that Super Mario Bros. 3 was a famous and elaborate stage play that took Hyrule by storm. While Miyamoto has confirmed it was a stage play, there's no way to know if it's set in Hyrule. This seems like a complete shot in the dark, but there are a few key elements that make it at least plausible. There are numerous nods to the Mushroom Kingdom strewn throughout the Legend of Zelda series, although they are most prominent in the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. There are many paintings of the Mario Bros. Characters found throughout Hyrule Castle, and this Happy Mask salesman has an intricate Mario mask on his pack. I don't know if intricate's the right word, but okay.
Mario's not intricate in design in general. So.
Yeah. if you look closely at Malon, you'll notice a Bowser-like clasp adorning her neck. Isn't it a cow?
No, it is a Bowser.
Okay, whatever.
She has a Bowser face.
I think it's Termina. In Termina, it is Bowser. I don't know about Ocarina of Time.
Well, if it's Terminal, it's not Malon, it's... I'm looking this up.
Yep, done. Boom, found it on Google. Just Google Malon, OOT. She's got a little Bowser medallion.
I think it's a cow. I'm gonna look it up.
I'm looking at it.
Could it have been changed in the 3D version?
This is like artwork.
Oh, you're right. Wow. What
Was it
the
changed
hell?
in the 3D version though?
I don't know.
That might be why you're
Dang,
thinking of a cow.
I've never noticed that. I just assumed it was a cow.
Nope.
It should be a cow because
It's a dinosaur turtle, not a cow.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing.
All right. Anyway.
It's weird. It's super weird.
Yeah, so with this, did you get through all of the...
Not all of it. It's the gist, though.
Okay. So
that is the gist.
Basically, yeah, there are paintings of the Mario people, Super Mario 64 in Hyrule Castle. There is the mask on the mask salesman. There is Malon and Tingo. No, who is it?
Malon and Talon.
Oh, yeah.
Malon and Talon?
Well, actually, even they are just sort of like retreads of Marin and Terran from Link's Awakening, but you get my point.
Yeah, but they're like... Like, one's supposed to look like Mario and the other is supposed to look like Luigi, and they're both brothers as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, if this is true, you could theorize... Like, if this theory was confirmed to be true, you could theorize that they are the actors for Mario and Luigi.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or just such big fans, they just cosplay a lot.
Yeah, but there's also Sharp and Flat, the composer brothers, who have the Mario and Luigi body types and colors.
Oh, yeah. So another thing is, like, Miyamoto did confirm that Mario Brothers 3 was a stage play, but I think that was more of he was just getting tired of people asking. So he's just like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's what we were doing the entire time. You want it? Here it is.
You got it.
Sangita in the chat says Bowser is a cow. Confirmed.
I mean, yeah.
Theory holds up.
Theory number 8. The single link theory. Already, nope. This theory is fairly old and gained a lot of steam prior to the release of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. Once Wind Waker hit store shelves, the single link theory lost a bit of its momentum. The idea states that we are following the same Link through each subsequent release, and that each Legend of Zelda title is simply another one of his many adventures. Wind Waker put a damper on this by presenting its Link as the hero of winds rather than the hero of time. Still, this hasn't stopped some people from putting new and unique spins on the single Link theory. There are some that suggest Link is perhaps the same soul reincarnated through each game. It is also suggested that both Ganondorf and Link share the same ability. Others see Link as a direct descendant of each former self. In a world filled with magic and goddesses, it's not hard to believe that Link is constantly being reborn to deal with the new and present dangers.
So what's funny is that they use Twilight Princess Link in the picture on this article, when Twilight Princess is a game, is the game where there are the heroes. There's the hero's shade, who is a different Link than the Link in Twilight Princess.
I mean, people say that in like Eastern reincarnation theory that's actually a thing that happens where people will communicate with their own past lives. Sure. And but Zelda's based on European mythology more than anything else. You see the Asian stuff in there a little bit sometimes, but I feel like you don't do a story about talking to your past life unless that's what you say it's supposed to be.
It's already confirmed that he's supposed to be like his grandson or great-great.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna... I mean, okay, so not only is I'm your ancestor, I am a reincarnation of you, and you're talking to me, and you reincarnated as your own blood.
Yeah.
It's like also, reincarnationception.
It's saying how, like, this was a theory that happened prominently before Wind Waker, but even, like, in A Link to the Past, when it was released, they said, like, Nintendo said publicly, this is not the same Link and Zelda in the first two games, but this takes place years before the first Zelda game with a different Link and Zelda who are the ancestors of this Link and Zelda. So it's like, even before that, it was already confirmed to be not the same Link and Zelda, even way before Wind Waker.
Yeah, people just, it's the thing that sucks about the theory is it's like, so easy to justify, and yet you get nothing from doing it. You should, well, they're reincarnated. Like, I mean, you can say that.
Sure. I think they all have the trait of having what's called the spirit of the hero.
Yeah.
I think that's been said to be true. Like,
well,
they all
even
have an unbreakable
in Wind
spirit.
Waker, he has to prove himself. Like, he isn't born with the power of the Triforce.
He's not a hero.
Yeah.
So even then, there is a link without that.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Take us. This is a non-theory.
We're done.
Like, we need to hurry and get through the rest of these. That one, definitely not. That's not even a theory. That's just an idea someone had when they didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So,
Daniel,
the
number
cause
7
of the Great Flood. Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker takes place in a flooded overworld that was once the Great Kingdom of Hyrule. During the opening sequence, we're told that the gods of the world were responsible for sealing away Ganon and all of Hyrule under torrential downpour of rain. So already this article saying the game has explicitly said that the gods sealed Hyrule. Many players are under the assumption that the Golden Goddesses were responsible for sealing away the darkness, but YouTuber RMFH, oh hey, it's Rick, proposes that.
Wait, what? For real?
Yeah, this quotes Rick. YouTuber RMFH proposes that another set of deities may have been responsible for the Great Flood.
But then the picture, like on the thing, it says via Zelda Dungeon.
Yeah, I think that's just where they just stole the picture from there.
That's not even from Zelda Dungeon.
That's fan art.
In the video, RMFH suggests that the 3 dragons, Elden, Pharaoh, and Leneru, or their spirit counterparts, are to blame for the development of the Great Sea. The 3 dragons, I guess, from Skyward Sword, then, not the light spirits.
But they weren't invented yet, and neither were the light spirits.
See, the thing is that the light spirits. Sorry, Rick. I haven't seen the video, but the light spirits are not gods. The dragons are not gods.
I mean, they might theoretically have the power to do this. We see that in Skyward Sword, Elden erupts a volcano, but the thing is, the game explicitly states who did it.
And it also, in Skyward Sword, Pharaoh does flood the forest region.
I mean, okay.
Sure. But it's the thing is that the game explicitly says that it's the gods that do it. So. All
right. So moving on, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that Rick came up with this article.
Theory. Well, he didn't come. He came up with the source the article is using.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's
for all we know, they're horribly misquoting him.
It's possible.
Try to throw you a bone here, Rick.
All right. Axel, number 6.
Breath of the Wild happens after Wind Waker. The placement of Breath of the Wild within the Zelda timeline has been bothering people ever since the game. Where are you guys going?
Sorry, just this is killing me.
The title looks and feels like it belongs somewhere towards the beginning of the time.
No, it doesn't!
With ancient artifacts. We know for a fact that that's not true. That's like the one thing we know about it, is that it's not at the beginning. With ancient artifacts and expansive wilderness. The running theory is that Breath of the Wild is actually placed after the events of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. It can be difficult to pinpoint exactly where the newest Legend of Zelda title belongs, thanks to its unique gameplay elements and massive open-world design. What?
That's not why.
Yeah, but a few mysterious items are why, incidentally, suggest that Breath of the Wild takes place in the remnants of the once flooded kingdom of Hyrule. For one, the Korok race, once the Kokiri, hasn't made an appearance in the Legend of Zelda franchise until the Wind Waker. Breath of the Wild is also features large mineral deposits of rock salt, perhaps suggesting that the area was once covered in salt water. It is also worth pointing out that the Sheikah patterns in Breath of the Wild look similar to the patterns adorning the Tower of the Gods from the Wind Waker.
Okay, but
that actually is interesting.
And I've mentioned this in previous videos that the Tower of the Gods, the technology is in there. Jesse died because this is so stupid. I've mentioned before that they do seem like kind of similar technology to the Sheikah technology, especially the boss of the Tower of the Gods.
Yeah.
But I was saying, like, well, this is the Tower of the Gods, who's the servant of the gods, the Sheikah, so they probably did the manpower of building it. That doesn't mean that this is... Rock salt doesn't mean...
Yeah. And not all of those even have rock salt. Rock salt's a thing!
Yeah, it's a real thing in real life. And the Koroks, the Kokiri...
The Bible stories were all true!
Okay, let me just say really quick. Promoting Breath of the Wild. Al Numa, the man who created the game and has been creating the Zelda games since Ocarina of Time. He was assistant director, producer, whatever on Ocarina of Time, and then his first that he actually made himself was Majora's Mask. So every game since then, he's in charge. This man, when asked about the connection between Breath of the Wild and the Wind Waker, he said, and this is from him, that a lot of the assets from Wind Waker were reused in Breath of the Wild just because of how easy it was for them to do so.
True.
I didn't know
that. Actually, the Koroks especially, it's like they ripped the character models straight from Wind Waker into Breath of the Wild.
He said instead of creating a bunch of new models or coming up with new ideas, new designs, new concepts, since they already had HD models from Wind Waker HD, it was easy for them to just reuse a lot of stuff like they did with Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And they said that, now this doesn't mean that Breath of the Wild doesn't take place like thousands of years after Wind Waker. I take what he says as it doesn't come directly after the Wind Waker, so it's not like a direct continuation. But he said that the only connection between Wind Waker HD and Breath of the Wild is in like design choices, like the story, everything else, character, like none of it has anything to do with Wind Waker aside from the looks of stuff.
What if everyone talked about what if they made a Majora's Mask style asset reuse of Breath of the Wild? What if Breath of the Wild is the asset reuse? Majora's Mask for
that's
the Wind
essentially
Waker.
what it is, because even before that, there's another interview where the Koroks weren't even originally in Breath of the Wild. It was going to be the Kokiri. There was going to be a Kokiri champion.
That would have been cool. That would have been really awesome.
Yeah, but that poor kid would have been kind of outmatched by the other champions.
Yeah, like I can.
He could have been like the rogue hopping around shooting.
He'd be like, dude, look at my slingshot.
No, give him a bow, not a slingshot.
He'd be like,
no, I think he would have had the bow because
like,
they replaced him
with
Rivali.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So originally the Koroks were not even in Breath of the Wild. They just happened to have had a bunch of cool stuff they could have reused from Wind Waker HD, so they replaced the Kokiri with the Koroks, and then I guess Kokiri Forest turned into Korok Forest. Instead of getting like fake pedestals laying everywhere, which we covered in a previous top 10 video for unused content in Breath of the Wild, it was originally going to be Axel, you know, A Link to the Past, the fake sword pedestals in Lost Woods?
Oh, yeah.
So there would be 900 of those laying around Hyrule.
Right.
As opposed to finding Koroks, you would find fake sword pedestals. And they thought finding Koroks would make more sense with the story. So
I like that idea, though. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. So
like the whole game, you're trying to get the Master Sword.
You just find 900 of them. I don't think it had the Master Sword in it. There's like a screenshot of it, and they took the pedestal, the same one from Skyward Sword, and it was just
Skyward Sword goddess pedestal.
So I assume that you would have found it and then put your sword in it,
and then it would have disappeared.
Pulled it out, and then it would vanish, and you'd get the token from it or whatever.
Yeah.
But
it's horrible. Next theory, that while Wind Waker may come thousands of years before Breath of the Wild, it does not come directly before Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is not Wind Waker 2.
No, that's Phantom Hourglass.
It is kind of what it is mechanically, but we'll get to that another day.
Yeah, and then, like, in the same, like, the only thing that we know 100% is that Breath of the Wild takes place a long, long time after Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
That's whichever timeline it is, whether it's just one, all three, none, who knows. But Aonuma did say it does take place thousands of years after.
Yeah. So it's factually debunked.
Yeah.
All right. Gerudo reproduce through gynogenesis.
I like it.
Gynogenesis.
I like it the second we start talking about reproduction, they show a picture of one of like a little girl. It's Riju from Breath of the Wild, the only Gerudo that's a little girl.
The theory suggests the absence of Gerudian males has perplexed. What? Okay.
I like how the author of this article made up the word Gerudin.
Yeah, the absence of Gerudin male. Okay, sorry. The absence of Gerudo male. Don't make up your own words when you don't even know what your theories are.
Nope.
Has perplexed theorists for years. Many fans have tinkered with ideas concerning the reproductive process of the Gerudian people. No, they have not. And one Redditor believes they have the definitive answer in the gynogenesis. According to Zelda lore, there are men in the Gerudo... Can we just skip this?
Yeah.
According to Zelda lore, there are men in the Gerudo race.
Makes them mostly girls is really dominant, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
The thing is that with this,
hold on. I want to finish this to see how if it gets stupider.
Okay, sure, it does. But you what?
Did you read these?
I read through them. Yeah.
Okay. According to Zelda lore, there are men in the Gerudo race. That's not Zelda lore. That is true. They're just insanely rare. Approximately one is born every 100 years. If this is true, it is. The game tells us. Then how have the Gerudo managed to avoid extinction? That's where gynogenesis comes in. The process.
They get husbands in Hyrule. We know this.
Gynogenesis produces clone-like offspring.
Sure.
This is the perfect way to explain why most Gerudan women look strikingly similar to one another.
Why not?
We also know that the Gerudo often visit neighboring towns for the specific purpose of finding males to mate.
Yes,
that's the male how they DNA does not normally carry over during gyna. They're simply used as a tool to begin the birthing process. Although there are extremely rare instances in which the male DNA does actively carry over, which would explain why males sometimes show up in the Gerudan bloodline. It's also worth noting that Ganondorf, who served as the king of the Gerudan people, the Gerudos, king of the Gerudos, is the correct terminology here, not the king of the Gerudan people, has exceptionally pointed ears. Perhaps he was the product of a Gerudan mother and a Hyrulean father. Technically, all newborns would be the offspring of a Gerudan mother and a Hyrulean father.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Sure, but here's the thing. I don't think Ganondorf does have pointed ears.
Here's the thing.
Don't the Gerudo have pointed ears?
Yeah, but Ganondorf does not, actually. If you look at... he does in, I think, Wind Waker, but Ocarina of Time actually distinctly draws him with rounded ears. That's not the point. What am I doing? Stop me.
I mean, it's an okay theory, but I don't think Nintendo put any thought into it. It's just, they're mostly chicks. They breed with men of other races. Sometimes there's a male. Who cares?
That's Breath of the Wild, they have fish and Hyrulean mating.
I mean, I do have a good friend who does biology, who is actually a biology teacher, or studied biology, for some reason, on the spot, it is what it is. But she did theories about, biology. She wrote some of them for Zelda Dungeon and things like the Gerudo. But, she has a lot of, it's interesting in-depth theory work. It's just but I doubt Nintendo thought about any of this.
Yeah. Also, I don't think the person writing this article knows how DNA works because, just because, let's say, for example, my wife and I, we have a son. That doesn't mean only my DNA carried over to him, right?
Well, yeah, but he's describing an actual biological process where that occurs.
So the thing is, I think they're only basing this off of Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Yes, but in that game, it says that they leave town to go find mates.
Yeah, well, that's
There's a gossip
the
stone
only.
That says that.
For a long time, that was the only instance of the Gerudo, but it's theory, this is just another thing where the person didn't do any research. They were just hey, They're all girls. How do they have babies? They must go and get male, or maybe they just reproduce asexually.
I mean, they do say...
Well, let's move on to the next thing.
All right. Axel, I believe it is your turn.
There are 4 Triforce pieces! Skip it! Skip it!